Yeah. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing today? We're not going to be on the lathe at all today, and this happened to be magnetic, so that actually works. Hope everybody is having an awesome day today. Oh, there it is. I knew I brought drinks out here, man. All right, so we're going to put this on low. This way I can move some air around in here and still be all right with y'all as far as the sound. There we go. Actually, I turned it off. Hey, give me 1 second, the chat opened up. How's everybody doing? Hope you guys are doing great today. Stream Manager on the iPad interface is garbage. Here we go. What's up? Let's make sure we got all the cameras working. We're good to go. I just need to make sure. That should be... Why is all that shit lit up? Y'all gonna have to forgive me. OBS. I updated OBS, and it decided it didn't want to play with the Stream Deck very well. So let's see what it's doing, because it's giving me some hard times on the Stream Deck today. So we're gonna run a system check real quick, go through all the cameras. Yeah, it's got some duplicate scenes. Y'all, I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna be on a headset with y'all. We're gonna be setting this up, fixing this real quick, and then we'll be getting going on working today. Sorry about being late. You know, OBS was this new update broke the Stream Deck plugin. I guess it was the biggest, most ambitious OBS update they had so far. But unfortunately, you know, I mean, I don't know what the problem is. Why that didn't get checked out better? But it definitely was not doing what needed to be done. Main workshop view, table saw needs to go to program. Okay, that should be. Okay, we'll go right back. Hey, Thunder, thanks for the lurk, man. Appreciate it. So just getting these scenes set up and stuff. OBS broke my OBS. Hey, OBS broke that Stream Deck, so I got to. It was like 5 till 1. I was gonna get started at 1. OBS broke. And I had to like spend the time. I had to re-download everything and set all the scenes back up. So thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate it. Hey, y'all. Thanks for the word. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for coming. Let's check out where we're at so far, guys. We got here the other day. We ended stream and I dropped everything. I didn't do anything without y'all. Promise. So this is where we are for reals. For reals. Uh-oh. Some of the caulking actually came off. That's not cool. Wonder how that happened. Okay. So, I'll show you guys what we're at, where we're at, what we're doing right now. We do have most of the letters cut for LOS. Most. There's 3, so I guess most would be 2, right? Is that how that would work? So, That's okay. That'll get planed down. Just gonna get in there. Gotta double check the logo. One of the O's, one of the corners on the O and the LOS logo is rounded off. One of them is not. Let's bring the graphic up. On this handy dandy Discord server with the logos and stuff sitting right here. Actually, we'll pull the website up. I can zoom in on that. If you guys haven't seen it, join LOS.com. Go check it out. That is the current sponsor of today's prizes and giveaways. Well, it looks like both corners of the O are supposed to be rounded. That's fine. We'll round them both off. I think. Yeah, that's the top right there. It gives us a little bit more space. This one, because of the way it's cut, does not. So, it's supposed to go above the O, or the L, like that. All right, cool, cool. So we're gonna round that off. We're gonna get started on the scroll saw first. We're actually gonna bring this up to a workbench. So it actually makes sense this time. Angle this at a direction makes sense for you guys to see it instead of me hiding it from the camera. But as you can see, I was gonna show you real quick. This is where we are. We've got the L and the O cut. Again, part of this was we were building the box the other day and trying to figure out some math and stuff, and now we've got this. Also, once these letters are done, we're going to template this out so that I never have to do the math on these again. Because I like math, but I hate doing redundant work. So let's head on over to the scroll saw. We'll make sure that gets plugged in because I only got one outlet right now. It is plugged in. Make sure you guys can see. All right. So, we're just going to scroll this out. Oh, I had not done the math on I hadn't done the, guys, I got to trace the inside of it first. Didn't do the drawing the first time. I know we were at a 1 1/4 inch on our letter width, so that's where we're going to stay. It's a little high. Not the good kind. I mean, I don't know what you talk about. So we can afford a little sanding. I'm going to tear that off just to take some of these pencil marks off from last time. I don't want to remove the center marks, just the ones that we had started to contour the letters with because they were in the wrong spot. So we've got our center line here. Let's find our new center to our S. Good to go. What? Okay. So all our lines are 1 1/4 inches from the edge. At least that's been the idea. Let's bring the LOS logo back up again so I can see what we're doing. There we go. So all our lines again 1 1/4 inches thick. Our lines being the bars that actually make up the letters, right? So do that. Draw a line about there. That'll be okay. And then the drop for the hook and the S. Stick this right about here. This one's actually going to work out better than than the prototype that I made last giveaway. Just in the fact that one, I've done it now a couple times. Two, this is a harder wood than the last time, which is going to work to our advantage. Okay, so now we've got the top of the hook of the S, and that doesn't go too low. It's going to go. We got a 1 1/4 inch, so it's 5/8 on either side of our center mark. We did that math last time. If you guys want to review on fractions, I'll let my kids teach you. Okay, so we're going to go 5/8 along this line. So 5/8 is 3/4. 5/8 there. Half. 5/8 there. Okay, so I'm going to run this up at an arbitrary angle because I can. Just as long as it matches the angle down below. And draw this out. Now, we already have our 1¼ inch line from the top. Alright, so this, drop that down. That should be 1. Oh, we only did it 1 there. Okay. It's okay, we make mistakes, we fix them. So 1¼ so 1¼ which means this is actually our line right here. And that's good. I'm going to bring it down to there. We did 1 1/8 there. We missed. Okay. That's alright. It's okay. Again, this is why I'm going to create a letter template specifically for the LOS. And if you and your communities want to get involved, you can work on a project for your community. Also, we've got a FMF project coming up for Dev and Holy Ghost and those guys. Okay. We will continue this to the back side there. Continue this to the front side there. And now on that same angle, drop that angle about to here because I said that looks like a good spot. Let's measure that so it's identical and symmetrical. Oh look, I nailed it, 1 1/4 inches. So we'll cut it to 1 1/4 on this side. Okay. I am working on Elf's giveaway prize, and then I'm doing one for Bolter as a community sponsor partner thing. So if you saw the one that RK won, the controller stand, I'm working on one for him. I'm working on one for Elf and one for Bolt. So this one is going to be out of black walnut. And then I've got a piece of Sweetgum over here. That, yeah, as a matter of fact, I'll show you the, so this is the walnut one. And then I'll show you the Sweetgum one that I'm looking at. This is, camera's over here. So the other one's going to be made out of this. And this is absolutely beautiful, man. The grain in this wood, when it's stained and oiled, it pops so beautifully. So the next one should be out of that. And I have just enough to finish that one. That's my last Sweetgum that I've got in the garage. I can get more. It's just a matter of, I'm working on sourcing new wood since the move. So I'm still looking for a guy in Carolinas that's relatively close that I can get. Like, hey man, I need to come pick this up today or something. So now we've got our S is completely ready to get cut. So we'll switch you all over to the scroll saw. It's not the best view over there. Eventually, This will be much more professional. But you can kind of see where we're going with this. I definitely need another light source over here. I'll tell you that right now. I don't know if these lights work or not. Let me see. Last time I plugged them in, I don't think they worked. I'm gonna run another power cable really quick and see if I can get them to light up. What's actually plugged in over here? The radio charger and one of my battery chargers. Let's do this. We're gonna run this kind of ghetto-like for a few minutes. Sorry about the fan in y'all's ear. This thing cuts out the shop lights pretty well, or the shop noise pretty well. Hopefully it cuts the fan out too when I'm like standing in the buzz of the fan. Nope, nothing. All right. Well, here it is. Yeah, man. I'm looking for. Oh, there's another piece of sweet gum right here too. Forgot. I'm looking to do this full time. So, it would be a really, really nice gig for me if I could. I mean, I get to work out of my own workshop in my own house, and I don't know if this is gonna work. We'll see. It's better than nothing. And then also I'll be able to, like, I don't know, actually create this stuff so it's professional. Get this set up all done, taken care of. And I want to go into business full time. Like, so I do two different things, man. I do heirloom furniture. Spoob, what's up, man? Hey, thanks for coming by, dude. We're just about to cut into some letters on this scroll saw over here. So it's a little hard to see, but we're working on it. But yeah, I want to do this full time. I do. I don't know if that's the table. That's the table. It's gonna be a little loud, guys. So I do like heirloom quality stuff, all hardwood. All right, this is not gonna work up on this desk. I gotta get this secured down. So I'm actually gonna build another workstation for this scroll saw, just like I have over here, the bandsaw and the planer and stuff. But right now that's not gonna work. We'll do a camera switch, get you guys all set up so you can actually see this. Hold on a sec. But yeah, so all that stuff that's on there, man, I do all that like really nice quality like furniture and stuff. If I were to speak for myself, I'd say it's pretty high quality. I mean, I've gotten paid quite a bit of money for doing it. And then gamer accessories, dude. Gamer desks, controller stands, headset racks and stuff. Actually, Spooby just came in chat, and he's got one of mine, one of my controller stands that I built specifically for him. All custom branded. So, doing the ones for LOS. Doing some for a community called FMF. Spooby's going to get his own creator code here pretty soon. As a matter of fact, I think I already sent it to him. Spoob, if I didn't send you your creator code yet, let me know. But there'll be a discount through LOS. Be all kinds of stuff. So actually, man, if you want something, let me know, and we'll work it out. That's what I love about scroll saw. The blade is actually intentionally small enough, narrow enough, and fine-toothed enough that it's literally built for scroll work. That's why it's called a scroll saw. So I can sit here and turn this while it's on the blade. Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I've got two pieces. Miracle just put me on contract. Well, we haven't signed anything, but Miracle's got me up for two of them, and I can't wait to build his, man. Finishing up designs on them in my head and stuff right now, and then I'm gonna put them on paper and send them to him. Shit. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting those done too. So I'll do whatever wood I got available. I'll be pick your own wood. I'll get your gamer tag on them. I do. We can do wood burn gamer tags, a little extra. But everything is custom, dude. So like, there's also no like, yeah, man, this costs this much. Like, I don't do any of that because it's everything I do is custom for what you need. You know what I mean? So you guys can see that's coming out pretty clean. And we'll put final sand on it and stuff to square it all up and make it all extra pretty, but it's coming out pretty nice so far. So now we'll cut the other side. Back it off a little bit, start the scroll. We're almost done, guys. One line to cut. Clean up the corners. Yeah, Danny, I'm aware. So that that workbench, funny story. I actually built that one, and I've been that was a kind of a half-ass table I was working on getting to. That I built in a hurry. At one point in time, it was an outfeed for my table saw. Unfortunately, the leg structure, I half-assed it to be perfectly honest with you. And that table, I put the scroll saw up there. I actually started there today with it. I'm gonna build it its own workbench, but that table has it's got a really bad vibration to it. So the oscillation on the scroll saw wasn't working. So I tried to make that work today. I actually just got the workshop finished building up last week, so I'm still working out some kinks and stuff here and there. But yeah, plus the camera angle from the camera I have over on that table didn't really allow as much view for it. So I'm gonna work something else out. But no, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate the critique, dude. So let's hang out for a little bit. We're just building we're doing some custom controller stands for a couple gamer buddies of mine. And this one actually was a prize in a giveaway. So we're going to finish this one, getting this ready today. And it's going to be a black walnut and epoxy composite. So hang out, man. That's what we're doing. So I usually try to, here you go, camera switch. But I like doing the work, and started with, I'm a gamer and stuff too, so if you check the Instagram, I'm not sure, how'd you find the channel, man? But if you check the Instagram, all my portfolio of work and stuff is up there, along with some other goofy videos and pictures and stuff. But so here you go, guys. This is the lettering for. I actually got to round out that O. I forgot this on this bottom here to match the logo. But that's the LOS. It's the framework for the LOS controller stand. We're gonna clean up some of these corners, make these a little crisper and stuff. We'll round off that O, sand out some of this roughness and stuff, and then we'll be ready to pour this one, the base coat of this one today. This is going to take about probably 3 pours to finish. I separate my pours by about 5 or 6 hours apiece, and then that'll be the last of the slow pour epoxy I've got. I've got a couple gallons of the fast pour stuff and the fast curing stuff, but I need to get through the stuff that I've got right now. So, yeah, what do you do for work, man? I don't think this is going to be small enough to get in. Oh, there we go. This is actually a dovetail saw, but shy of going back over the scroll. We'll cut back over the scroll saw. I'm going to square these corners off real quick. It'll be fast. Flour miller. Oh, nice, dude. So you somewhere in the Midwest, or kind of where are you from? Cut that off. Grab this O. Round that O off like we were talking about. Oh, from the UK. Okay. That's awesome, man. I didn't think I had quite the international reach yet. Ugh. I got a couple gamer buddies over, a couple guys I know that from live in London and stuff, and then one up in Scotland. Yeah, nice gradual rounding. Take some sandpaper to it that I actually just put away. I need a sanding block, but I don't have scrap for it, I don't think. How's the weather over there, man? It's still hot as shit over here. I'm in South Carolina, so kind of, I don't know, 2/3 that way down the Atlantic coast. It's I don't know what it translates to but it's I think it's gonna get up to 90 today. Oh, that edges are nice. Kind of get rid of some of that rough look. I want this to be nice and crisp. Very well defined. Like if it's part of the logo and it's kind of looks roughshod and stuff because that's the way it looks, all about it. But the LOS logo, if you guys look at the block letters and stuff when you go over to the page to sign up to join the community, haha, you like that? That was smooth. Very, very crisp edges on the letters and stuff. So we're gonna try to stick to that. 20s. I think that's if I do the conversion right in my head real quick, low 70s maybe, right? But yeah, so this is gonna be the second and third LOS controller stands that I've done. So now we've got the letters templated out, which looks really, really nice. So now you guys can see, again, what that's going to look like. And the LOS colors are blue and red. So we're going to, when we pour the epoxy to stick these in, or to keep these in, what we'll do is we'll pour the clear coat first to let these sit in, because I'm not going to clamp these down. There's just, the box is, look, I just haven't started clamping them down. I ain't going to lie. I need to get to a point where I've got that system set up, but I just don't have it set up yet. So we're going to let these, what we'll do is I'll float these in a clear epoxy on the bottom. Go ahead and let them float right where they are, and then as that epoxy cures, before I pour the second pour, they'll stay put and they won't float. So that'll actually get rid of the floating for me. Whereas like if it's a big slab or something like that, a big table, you don't want to do that, because then you've got to like go back. Then I've got to take the entire clear coat off the bottom of the slab in order to be able to work with it after I put it in there. It's wasted epoxy. It's a lot of work. It's bulky. It's strong. This I can pass through the thickness planer, take the bottom coat of epoxy off in 5 minutes, and we'll be good. So that's the reason I don't do that. You'll see a lot of people working on epoxy tables and stuff. They'll clamp their slabs down. It's good practice. It's to keep them from floating, so the epoxy doesn't get underneath it, and they don't have to take that off, because it's a lot of work to remove epoxy once it's on wood. But we'll go ahead and we'll prevent that, or we'll just accept it and then fix it after the fact, because I'm only using a couple ounces of epoxy at this point. So what I'm going to do really quick is I'm going to pull the Sweetgum out that we're going to make the other one out of. Now this is going to be interesting because a couple reasons. One, this shit is 2 inches thick. But we're going to cut the main blocks of the letters out first. So I'm going to go ahead and trace them, and then we'll cut the blocks out, and then we'll thickness the blocks. So I'm not thickness planing. That's epoxy basically is a two-part. Well, it's a two-part plastic, but also it's just it acts as a glue also. And since I'm working with it, what I'll have a better luck with is by putting that layer of clear down for the letters to float in. Epoxy bonds to epoxy really well, even if it's semi-cured. That's because of the way that it cures, rather than trying to glue them down, and then I've got to peel it out of the mold. I'm trying to I keep the mold so they're reusable. That's actually what this is. Even though the walls will come off, this tape is a silicone-backed OSB sheathing tape. So it actually releases the epoxy without a mold release. And it does it really, really well. So I'll be able to reuse, basically, once the box comes apart, I'll be able to just put it back together, seal the corners again, and we're good to go. Rather than trying to put a glue in there and mess with that. Yeah. So I've been it's a work in progress. It's a process in progress and in development. I by no means do I have all the answers. It's just something that I've been working with for about 1.5 2 years now. And I'm finding ways, and I bump and go and watch videos and learn and read up and do what I can as I can. But this is just the process that I've come up with right now. I thought about gluing them down. It just, again, peeling them away from the box and stuff, it just didn't work. So it didn't seem feasible at the time. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, and I'm just going to, is that long enough? It's long enough to make a guess. I'm just going to go ahead and line out with a margin of error some of these blocks that I'm going to be able to use. And what I'll do is I will cut these off in chunks, and then we will thickness them down to 1 inch, which is the width of our letters. And then it looks like we'll have a little bit of scrap left over. What I want to do too is, even though I've got these marked, let me double check the back side of this wood to make sure that it's going to be completely usable. What I'm worried about is this bad spot right here. So what we'll do is we'll take a look. And it looks like even at the worst spot, that should only dip in. And one way we can avoid one of the issues is, one, I'll cut a fourth block. I'll leave this extra for the fourth block. Actually, let's do it this way. We'll start over here. That'll be high enough. I'm kind of worried about the cracks in this slab, but it looks like we'll be able to plane right through those, and those won't be an issue. And then I've done it before also, where on something like this, if it cracks or whatever, we'll have the grain intact, and we'll be able to just basically we'll be able to glue it back together before it goes in the epoxy. And once it goes in the epoxy, it'll be solid set, so it won't be an issue. I know, double marks, right? Make it confusing. Once it goes into planer, those marks will come off. So as long as I keep track of what I'm doing right here, because I'll do don't cut that one. That's good. And then we won't cut this one. And that's good. And that'll leave us some scrap. And that scrap will go towards like the legs of the stand and some other stuff, like whatever else we need to do. There will be a I don't want to say a plaque, but something with the gamer tags and stuff on the front. We can pull that out of the scrap. We can do all kinds of stuff with it. So, all right. We got a rip blade on our table saw already. So we'll switch power plugs because the power outlets in this work garage are extremely limited. Told some people about that ahead of time. We talked about that before. What I'm working on right now is running permanent power solutions from the rest of the house with other extension cords, so that I don't have any two power tools or two things that I might have on at the same time on the same breaker. Because what I don't want to do, especially midstream or mid-job, you don't want to pop a breaker and you have to worry about resetting, and I just want to be able to work with it. So, don't need a fence. Don't need an angle guide on this, because we're going to basically freehand it across the lines. It's kind of a big piece of wood to use an angle guide on anyway. So, just make sure that our blade is high enough. I can't extend this up to it's 3.5 or 4 inches. I think I can take it up to 4 inches. But again, I told you guys before, you just barely want the teeth of the blade above the workpiece. Now, it looks like it's rocking because it's not completely smooth, so I'm going to leave it up a little higher. But what I don't want to do is you want to keep the blade lower on the piece of wood as on the working piece, because like I was talking about before, what it does is it takes the cutting surface of the wood, of the blade, and you're trying to cut the entire piece of wood on the front 3 teeth of the blade. Now, when you take it, if you have it up too high, now you take it down to just where it punches through, and now you're using the entire, not full 90-degree arc, but from the center pinion, or from the axle, it's about a 60-degree arc. It's much, much better than cutting a piece with a 15-degree arc, okay? It helps cool the saw off a little bit more, puts less wear on the blade. And then we're going to move through this pretty slowly anyway, because I know I'm already foreseeing having some issues just with resistance and stuff, because this is a rough sawn slab. We're going to take it nice and slow. If we catch anything at all, if we have any catch, anything, we'll go ahead and back off. Ease up. Let the resistance come off the blade a little bit. Nice and slow. And that's always a problem, cutting some of the harder woods and stuff. There we go. Yeah, it's not a problem. It's just something you want to watch out for. And then it can also give you an idea of whether your blade is getting dull or not. You see some of the burn marks here from the friction. It is a blade I'm going to end up having to replace or sharpen, if I can find a place to get it sharpened around here. And then let's go ahead and cut our next working section off. And it looks like the slab's blowing up a little bit over here. So we'll keep an eye on the saw blade, see if it's going to cut through it. Is it going to cut all the way through on this cut? There we go. There we go. Another nice cut. A little burned up, but that's all right. We'll get our last piece that we're going to actually work with. Yep. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to turn the saw off real quick. I want to set this next to it because of the way this wood's bowing up. I want to make sure that it's still above, the saw blade is still punching through it. That's another thing you don't want to do, is have the saw blade too low, because then you just won't punch. It won't cut all the way through. You'll have to make a second pass. Then you're worrying about tracing the same line again. It's a little high. Because then if you don't trace exactly the same line, you're going to... And we had some sacrificial scrap left over on the sides anyway, but you don't want that cut to not be smooth, because I don't know what I'm going to use the scrap for. I don't know what I'm going to use it on the next piece. Last thing I want to start with is an uneven edge on a piece of wood that's already been cut. Starting in the wrong spot. Got the wrong spot, guys. I already ruined that piece of scrap. It's okay. Got plenty of stuff we can do with it smaller length. I'm still going to keep it around. Once it's actually on the blade, there's very little room for correction. You want to make sure it's corrected make sure you're making as many of those micro corrections left and right as you can to keep you from getting way too far off track. Once it's too far off track, you're kind of screwed. You're just going to cut it and correct yourself after the fact. So, I'm just going to go ahead and unplug a saw. A little bit of shop safety. I mean, at this point, I can't turn it on except from the other side, but hey, better safe than sorry. Plus, I'm clumsy as shit, so just going to kind of tuck that cord out of the way. Okay, so now we got our 3 pieces for our 3 letters. Before we even template those, what we're going to do is we're going to take them over to the planer. These are cut at, I want to say they were cut at 10 quarters, but I might be wrong. Double check this. Yeah, so not quite. Actually, they're, okay, they're about 3/4 or an inch and 3/4. So, this wood, guys, this is Sweetgum. This came right off the sawmill. I got this fresh cut from sawmill. Man, I want to say I've had this wood for 3 years now. Yeah, I got it like at the beginning of 2019. So 3.5 years. I got this cut right off the sawmill. It was wet as crap. And then one thing you can see is even in this small piece right here, you can see the bending and the warping. Now, if you take that out, I had these cut as 10-foot slabs. Sweetgum warps horribly as it dries, which is why we got the over thick slabs, because when I straightened them all out for the project that we actually ended up using the main bulk of this wood on, I needed 4-foot long straight wood. And what I actually did was I put I had about 12 other slabs of wood piled on top of this one. This all came out of one slab. It was, it still had quite a bit of warping. I mean, at any point in time, I had a dozen slabs on it, depending on what else other stuff I had going on. I let it dry for about 1.5 years before I ever cut it, checking it with a moisture meter. And even with several hundred pounds of wood on top of it, it still managed to warp and twist. And that's just because of the grain patterns in the wood. Sweetgum has a very unique grain pattern, so as it dries and when it tightens in a really, we'll just call it unique kind of way. So, all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull this stuff over to the planer over here. Let's get this grinder out of here. Don't actually use this for much anymore. I don't do a lot of metal work or anything like that, but we're just going to put this up top until we actually need it. I'm going to go ahead and switch you guys' camera views. And miter planer. Okay. So again, this is a little bit out of the way of the camera, so you guys just bear with me. Some of y'all been in the shop with me before for a couple days. All right, so set the planer up to just the actual thickness of this slab. So also Danny, we literally just moved into this house about a month ago. So a big part of this was just setting the workshop up to be functional. A lot of it we're going to end up modifying later. We're renting this house, so it's not a lot that I could do too much with altering the garage to be the workshop. But eventually we'll end up with some more stable workbenches, better camera angles, all of that, as this turns out to either turn into something popular or I end up going full-time with this. We'll end up being able to do a lot more. So we're going to go ahead and start passing this wood through. So because of the width of the wood and the surface, all right, we're going to take this down at about a 1/16 of an inch per pass. I've got to cut 3/4 of an inch of surface off of this piece. I went over to the other camera like you guys are still looking. So we're going to take off about 1/16 of an inch of surface at any point in time with any pass. So 3/4 of an inch, we're looking at least 12 passes, depending on if we have to double any up or not, which sometimes can happen. And yeah, so once that's done, 12 passes a piece. We'll pass each one at each depth or each thickness, and then we'll lower it, and then we'll pass it again. So do about 12 passes through each one of these. So about 36 cuts because there's 3 of them. Let's see what happens. This one is a little thicker than its brothers. So we're just going to take that down, and we'll check right here to see if it's ready. Let's take this down 30-second. Make sure that it's cut in each surface. There we go. That's what we like to hear. Yeah, buddy. Take it down to 30-second again just to make sure we get full contact with each piece here before we really start digging. All right. That full 1/16 of an inch is one full turn on the adjustment knob on this. There we go. There we go. A little slower. So now we're in full contact with the entire piece. And we're taking a little bit more off. Still a little tight. Let's drop it back up. Turn the machine off. Don't ever reach in there. All right. Tell you what we'll do. We'll check to see how flat is that infeed. Wondering if it's binding up on the infeed table a little bit. Looks like it might be. we'll just go ahead and lower that a little bit. That's done with 2 bolts with locking nuts, 2 adjustment bolts. I was gonna get the wrench out, but they're pretty. Just adjusting it just a little bit. See where we're at with this. Okay, feeding. Feeding, not cutting. So we'll go a little bit more. Feeding. Click right through. Alright. Go ahead, we'll drop this 32nd of an inch. I think we're going to do 30 seconds for this for right now until we really get it surfaced and flat on one side. Okay. There we go. Never stick your hands in it to feed it around. Something you can sacrifice. Same thing, you wouldn't want to put your actual hand in here. So that piece is feeding now too. Okay. So it wasn't cutting. Because it wasn't cutting, we'll just drop a 32nd. Get it to the point where it cuts. There it goes. Make sure they all go through nice and even. Our depth gauge is right at 1 3/4 right now. So we'll go ahead and do a full 16th. See if we can cut it, feed it, and cut it. There we go. So now we know it's all the same thickness. Ain't no problem. A little bit of force in the world won't solve. Alright, we'll just keep this up. We're going to turn it down to 1/16 of an inch, which is a 1 full revolution on the handle. And we're going to get this down to 1 inch. And once these are all flat on one side, nice and surfaced, smooth, we will flip it over to the other side. It's just like, yep, we'll do this fast. Part of the reason this stuff is sticking too, guys, I forgot to mention, this thing has a depth gauge, like a thickness, or a material removal gauge on it, but because of that, it's this little spring that goes up and down that actuates this little needle, right? But on a smaller piece of wood, because it doesn't have the weight, the spring actually gets it caught, so I have to go to either side of that. So we'll drop it down another 1/16 of an inch. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and flip these over, and we're going to surface this backside, because that's where the bad spot was anyway. This is where we're going to focus on. All right. Stand back up. Another 16. We are down 2. This pass will take us right to about 1 and 8. We're down under that 1.5 inch mark already. Gotta love that sawdust on camera, guys. One of the big things I hope to get is a dust filtration system, actual vacuum system set up. I have a shop vac, but it's proven to be pretty difficult to get it to vacuum some of this stuff up. Because the hose diameter and stuff, every time I try to use it for dust collection, scrap collection, massive wood with a higher surface area and a high heat friction spot. We're talking about starting a fire. Take it down another 16th. And then I'll show you guys kind of, that camera's got a lot of sawdust in it, so we'll take this over and I want to show you guys what we're looking at. This is the actual, now you can see the actual grain of the wood. And I love this stuff. So let's see, it's wet. I can't wet it because I'm about to keep cutting on it, but you'd be able to see the grain pop even better. But you can imagine it is an absolutely beautiful grain on this piece. Absolutely in love with it. If you guys would like to see what this grain looks like when it's finished and oiled, over on my Instagram page and my portfolio of everything I have done, you guys can go over there, check it out. And there's actually an epoxy resin coffee table that was done. The one with the blue center. Spoob! Bolter, what's up? Thanks for the sub, man. Hey, Spoob, thanks for coming back. Bolt, thank you, man. Hey, I'm working on Elf's and I'm working on yours right now, dude. This is actually, that's black walnut. I'm getting Elf the first choice of wood since he won that. But I'm doing 2 really nice pieces of wood for these. How you doing today, brother? Yeah, man. And then this is a piece of Sweetgum. You can see the grain and stuff. I'm actually building the other one today out of this. So it's going to be tight. So, all right, let's go back over to the router, or the planer. I'm sorry. I'm getting my tools mixed up. We'll go back over to the planer. About to play some tennis. Dude, I tried once or twice. My ex-wife and her family tried to get me into it. Nice. Good shit, dude. Yeah, I tried to play tennis once or twice, and then an old friend of mine tried to get me into it, and it just, I couldn't do it, man. I'm about as coordinated as a gopher, so. All right, I don't remember if we dropped the thickness on this yet, so we're just going to make a pass with each piece anyway. Yep, already did. So, I'm glad you like that game, man. The whole Elder Scrolls series is just amazing. Absolutely in love with that series, bro. And I'm actually making a template for the LOS letters, so if anybody else wants a LOS branded one, or for any of the giveaways that we do later on next time, I will have that templated out, and it'll actually be a lot faster for me to build those too. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a one solid price. So that's something I got to talk to you about, man. I'm going to put one solid price on the LOS ones, the branded ones. And then any, yeah. So any of your branded ones for LOS, and anybody that orders one will have one flat price. Because usually everything I do is custom. So there's no like real flat price on any of the community ones that I end up doing for you, for MFN, Scooby, if you're still listening, for FMF, for Dev and them. They're all going to be, like, this is your LOS one, this is what it looks like, this is your gamer tag. And then if somebody wants something custom beyond that, then we just talk about that, right? So, all right, another 16th down, guys. We're almost there. We're almost at that 1 inch mark that we're looking for. Another 16th down. Oh, got that trapped. Didn't quite make it out. There we go. Back up, down, and this will be 1 inch right here. This is the mark we're looking for. Done. That one's done. And that one's done. All right, we'll go ahead and shut that off. We're going to raise the head up a little bit so it gets some air underneath it so this thing cools a little easier. All right. Hell yeah, of course. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll trace these letters out. Because then we'll be able to take them over to the scroll saw and get this scrolled out. Nice. Actually, that's going to work beautifully. Because if you look at that, here, where did this grain match up? That was there, right? Looks like it. Should have been, yep, there. And this, let's match the grain up so it's all fancy and shit. What do you think? Right there. Nice. There we go. Method, what's up, man? Gaming tonight too? Yeah, later on tonight. I'm gonna work on this for a couple hours, get done, get cleaned up, take a shower, and then got some stuff to take care of today, and then I'll be back on stream tonight. So let's trace out the letters for this here fancy shit. Something sharper. Oh yeah. So before I epoxy these all in, I need to make a default setup too. Yeah, man, I'm a big bro, I just started. You missed it. I just started Metro Exodus last night. So I'm going to be playing that. Pretty interesting game. Apparently it's the third one in the series. I didn't know that, but yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. It's pretty cool. And if you guys aren't aware, if you're in the stream, Metro Exodus was brought to me courtesy of the LOS giveaways. That was a free game that I won among many, many games that I've won since I've been there. So if you guys haven't been over to LOS yet, go check it out. Yeah, man. Here I am pitching your freaking giveaways. You don't even remember. This man gives away so much stuff, I wouldn't expect him to remember anything anyway, guys. I'm going to tell you something, dude. Talk about a community that gives back. Hey, Bolt, you know, I'm doing enough of these. Donating enough to the giveaways to offset some cost. I think that's worth $50 a month, don't you think? Sounds like a VIP to me. Math, what do you think? I mean, I'm just saying. Talk about it later. Oh, shit. Easy enough. Watch this shit. I'm getting creative and shit. Okay. Ba-bam. Bam, ba-bam. Bam, bam. All right. Once we get these traced out, we'll get the Sweetgum ones done. And they should fit right in the other mold that we've got set aside because they're the same damn size. Actually, this one's a little off. It's a little bigger because the walls didn't quite get lined up right. So there's our other stand mold. Thunder! Hey, dude, don't even worry about it, man. No worries at all. I appreciate you being around, dude. You guys are the shit. So, I'm just glad y'all come by because it validates all the money I put into the setup. No, but this I really enjoyed like streaming out here, man. This is the shit. That's what I love about this. I get to do what I love, share it with y'all. Come on, play video games with y'all. Be part of this freaking badass family we got going on. Hell yeah, bro. See? See? And all you people, all y'all, we were kids. You making fun of me for tracing shit. I used to be able to draw too, but y'all made fun of me for tracing shit. Now look where you at. Now look where you at. Y'all making all your money, and I'm tracing shit in my garage. Also, I keep looking at these cameras with these bright-ass lights and blinding myself. There we go. See? I had to do the backwards S. It's a more different S. Do stuff in the basement. I did, man. I played Dungeons & Dragons in my mom's basement for years. Ah, that's a lie. We were too poor. I didn't have a basement. So, where'd I put my monster? Over here. Whee! There you go, Bolt. No, that kinky shit's Dungeons and Damsels. All right. So now we got our letters cut. Yeah, I told you I order them by the case, man, and the orange ones are the cheapest ones yet. As far as like, we found a case online on Amazon the other day for like $32, 24 of them. So it just depends. Like, it depends on what's on sale, but I have to have the zero sugar ones because I'm fat. So, all right. Yeah, I actually, dude, I just I did a DNA fit thing. Yeah, give me 1 sec, Meth. I gotta run in the house to take care of that. Give me 1 sec. That should fix it. That shit was turned way down on OBS or on voice meter. I don't know why. Okay. Yeah. So I just took a DNA fit thing. They do like they genotype your blood for like carb and fat sensitivity and like how your metabolism works and a bunch of other stuff. And found out that I should probably just stay on keto. So I'm gonna be going back to that here shortly. After I eat all the shit in the house that's got sugar on it, because we can't just throw it away. I mean, there's starving kids in Africa, you know. So, carnivore for a month challenge? You mean do nothing but eat meat the entire time? That's not a challenge. All right. Let's get you guys up here. Check the scroll saw out. If you guys have never seen a scroll saw work, these are pretty freaking cool. I don't have a workbench built for this one yet. I've got to do it down here. So, but because of the blade size and the teeth count and all that other stuff, you can actually do legit scroll work with these. Hence it being called a scroll saw. Yeah, let's do the surface first. But you can actually make your turns mid-cut. As long as you do it nice and slow, so you don't bend and deflect the blade. We'll cut this first one. I'll show it to you guys. Don't stick your fingers in a saw. There's a little bit of a, I made a turn. I didn't like, so I'm just leveling that out really quick. That's actually the first saw I ever learned to cut anything on from my grandfather. As a matter of fact, that's the reason I bought this particular Craftsman scroll saw, because it's the exact same scroll saw that I learned to use. It's the same one my grandfather had in his shop. So I couldn't find his same bandsaw. But the key with a scroll saw, just keep it nice and slow, keep the steady downward pressure so the piece doesn't slip too much. And it's money, my friends. Nice and slow so you don't deflect the saw blade. And you can bend and work your scroll work in here, just as long as you do it slow. You back off from the leading edge a little bit, and you can turn your piece and cut the saw. Nice and smooth curves and cuts. And I'll show you guys that here in a second. I'll do a little scrolly into the piece that I'm trying to cut. Right into the line that I need. Make your movements small. It's another nice thing about a scroll saw is it doesn't, like a table saw will actually kick a piece back out. You get some that will, depending on the tooth patterns, like you get saws that will pull a piece into it. It's not so much. It does not pull the piece that you're working with at all. And then you can do your cool little scroll work with it. Pull all your nice little curves and stuff, and it's all nice and smooth, no transition. You haven't bent the blade. There's no risk of it cutting. Well, thanks, Bolt. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. I thought about a GoPro, and then I thought about the point of view of watching somebody like walk around the shop and stuff, and then having the stream deck and having to switch angles. And I thought about a GoPro to get going to start with. I wasn't sure how well it would work out. Spoob, what's up, brother? Yeah, but again, it's the walking around the shop, and then I kind of, the swaying back and forth somebody's head in the cam. So, like, I thought about it, and then I was like, well, maybe it's kind of going to be like watching Blair Witch, right? Like, running through the woods all shaky and shit. And then, I don't know. It was a thought. I entertained it for a while. It's not something I'm against. I just wanted to at least get the workstation cameras done and stuff. Which I understand doing it that way would most likely make that irrelevant, right? But, yeah. It would be pretty cool with a head cam. If I could do the anti-wobble shaky shit. It's the only thing I was worried about. You get somebody watching the stream with motion sickness or some shit. I'm glad you got to swing by, man. I hope you have a great time playing tennis. And if you're playing jazz, don't let her win. So getting a little kind of wobbly with the curves on this backside of this L because one, the grain of the wood, and then two, it's the grain is a little the same color as the pencil. So trying to watch that. So we've got a little bit of curve there, and I'm just going to sand that off when we get ready to go. Yeah, what I need more than anything, even more than a head cam, I need to get a dust collection system set up in here. And there we have it, guys. Boop, boop. So yeah, the problem is with where I can actually put the cameras versus opening the garage with the light and then washout. And I actually tried that this morning. I was trying to make that work, and it washes all the cameras out really bad. So I've got to look at a couple different things, other lighting alternatives and stuff. But like, this is what it is, right? Like, this is the bump and go trying to figure this out, and I'm all right with that. So, boom. Again, we'll sand that flat on the back side a little bit, but you really even can't even really tell. It's more of a perfectionist thing for me. So, and then if we were to use the same shapes, we know that they're going to fit because we stenciled them off of those. So that'll be a nice tight fit in there, right like we want it, right? Doggy door, a tube through it. Yep, it's a rental house. So, been down that road, bro. We tried all of it. I was looking at all of it, and the garage door? No, it's not worth it to me, man. That's expensive as shit. So, because the only other alternative because the only actual door, there's no door to the outside from in here. It just goes into the house. So even if I were to do that, then I'm just blowing shit into the house. Yeah, rental house problems, man. Eventually, I'm gonna build my own place. I'll have my own workshop. I'm trying to build a 10,000 square foot workshop when it's all said and done. So, do like a giant ass pole barn. Yeah, but we work with what we got, right? So that's a little weak. Oh no, that's fine. There was a crack in there because of the way it split, but it's super small. I thought it was bigger than that. I'm gonna say we can fix it. Everything's fixable. Okay. All right, so that one's done. Yeah, we're renting the house from like this real estate rental company. They own like a couple hundred houses in the area, and it's very corporate. I'm trying to get a fence put in for my kids and my dog, and it's already like, you need to go talk to these 9 people, and I'm like, fuck, dude. So, all right. So, we're going to go ahead and cut this next letter out. What? We're going to get stuff done? Guys, we're going to be able to, my goal today is to be able, I get these other 2 letters cut out on stream. And then we're going to start the epoxy pour process. And that is a come back and check on it about every 5-6 hours until it's done and poured and cured. But once that's done, then we'll take these and we will demold the plaques. They're basically plaques at this point. We'll run them through the planer to make sure both sides are completely soft, or completely surfaced, nice and smooth, all cleaned up. Buzz the edges of the rough epoxy off where it bound to the mold, and then we'll sand them, and we'll start building all the legs. Once the legs and stuff for the stands, because these are both desk mount stands. Once these are done and the legs are assembled and put on and together, then we'll oil the entire thing down. It's going to get a coat of, it's made by a company called Rubio. It's an oil monocoat. It's one coat that's a finish, and it takes several days to cure, but the oil cures hard. Not like mineral oil or teak oil or anything you have to reapply. This oil is actually a hardening coat oil, and it is extremely protective, and once it's on, it's super durable. So we'll go ahead and we'll cut this out. And I love to use it. It's also super expensive, but 100% worth the cost of the oil. A little bit of missed line, but it's flat and it looks good, so we're good. We're going to stick with it. Basically, my eyes are resting from staring at that camera. Joys are using security cameras instead of actual multicam camera. Multicam setup that was designed for it. Definitely works. Saved a lot of money. It works very effectively. What we got going on over here? Oh. What's up? There we go. Hey, thank you, Method. No varnish, bro. We're going to use oil. I'll actually show you what we're going to use. This is a company called Rubio, the monocoat. The 2C is their hardener. But this is, if you go on and look at the pieces on the Instagram, that oil is on the, yeah, I've got a, okay, I'll take a look at that today. With setting everything up and moving everything, and like I basically reset voice meter up from the ground up. I appreciate that, because then I'll take a look at it when I go inside. I'll see why it's not doing that. I know it's routed in. I heard it like nice and loud. I don't know why it's not coming through the stream. So I'll make sure that's yeah, I know, but other people too, right? So like, I'll make sure that's on there and taken care of. If you see me tonight too, just remind me, ask me if I did it. But that oil, if you go on the Instagram page, if you look at the waterfall desk that I made, and then the other, I want to say I put it on the coffee table, the Blue River coffee table. That is also Sweetgum. So that's the same wood that this is right here that we're working on this stand. So it'll look the same. I want to say it's the same oil. I need to get good at various finishes, varnish being one of them. But honestly, I love the way that oil looks so much that I just haven't. I try to use it on a lot of stuff. It's just a really, really nice finish. It's absolutely beautiful. The thing you got to do with these saws, guys, is make sure you keep downward pressure on the piece you're working, because even though the saw blades, the teeth are pointed downwards, once it's inside the wood, it can drag the piece up a little bit, and you can start some chatter with your workpiece, and you definitely don't want that. So. Nice and clean cut. Nice. See, if I let it start chattering, it starts doing this, starts bouncing all over the place. Now my cut ends up not clean at all. You just want to make sure that stays nice and clean like that. Roll it around. This nice clean scroll right here. Right into the top bar of the O. And all the way through. And done. Nice and clean. Nice, nice. So now we've got we're on this camera. Now I've got the O nice and cut out. So we've got to cut out this inside. We're going to let the saw cool down a little bit because we actually have to remove the saw blade. What we're going to do is we're going to tap drill holes in here on each wall, center on each wall, right? And then we're going to just take the scroll saw and we're actually going to take the blade off, drop the piece on the wood, and then run the saw blade through the middle. That's another nice feature of the scroll saw. But for right now, while that's cooling off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a sanding block, sand that smooth, sand the back side of the L smooth. And all we need is a nice little piece of scrap wood, something with some flat shape to it. Yeah, I'm waiting to get over on the lathe and get a good piece I need to get over there for. So we're just going to make sure that gets nice and smooth and sanded. So I'm using the iPad to get through chat with you guys. So, because I don't have another monitor out here. So if there's a little delay on replies, it's because I'm waiting for the network to get it to my iPad and then back through. I'm not actually running on a computer with OBS right now. I mean, I am, but it's inside. So, lathe, L-A-T-H-I. And that is actually right there. I've got my lathe set up on the camera too, so you guys can see that when I do start turning some projects. Yep. And we're just doing a little touch up on this, nothing drastic. Just to straighten up the backside there. Smooth out the surface on the edges here where the saw blade bit in. We got this little ridge here, so we're going to just take that off. Ultimately, that stuff's going to be under the epoxy and it's not going to be seen anyway. But it's a good practice because for other pieces and stuff, you do have to do that. And I want to just be I prefer to make my good practices habit rather than cutting corners when I can. So we'll go ahead and just make sure we sand that down. Your boy does some quality work up in here, so got to stay with the quality, you know what I mean? So we got the O done. Yeah, dude. I don't play around, bro. I just make sanding blocks. I got scrap wood sitting over there. I just wrap a piece of sandpaper on. You don't need anything fancy. You don't need to go get any sanding sponges and none of that stuff. Grab a piece of sandpaper, grab a scrap of wood. Let's go. As long as it's flat on one side. That's it, man. Nice crisp corners, just like the LOS logo has. Oh, I got sanders, bro. I've got sanders. But they're in a drawer. And the thing about a sander is it comes to be, when you're doing detail work like this, it becomes really, really easy to overdo it. Now you burned through the wood. Now you've got to make adjustments in order to make it look good. You've got to make corrections. And then if you don't make the corrections right, you got to start over. Bro, I'll just... Sure, man. You're paying for the wood. But yeah, we'll build something. Wood's expensive, bro. This lumber ain't getting any cheaper. I'm still working on trying to find a sawmill right now that I can get some stuff from, because I prefer to work raw wood. Daddy likes it raw. That's how I became a daddy. But I mean, if you take a look, I think you might be able, I don't know if you can see over here or not. Let's put it on this one and see if you can kind of see what I've got. You kind of can't. I guess at the top of the screen above the lathe, there's some slabs stacked up. Those are all rough cut oak. Yeah, honestly, I don't think even the big wide angle, I don't think you're gonna be able to see it. Yeah, sure. Hold on a second. I really have to just rebuild this table. This shit's about to fall over. Take that apart and rebuild it. I'll bring you one of the smaller ones to see. I've cut some stuff off of this one to work with, and this is where I got the walnut for the other piece that I'm doing for Elf. But so like this is a slab of black. This is the top half of a piece of black walnut that I had cut. I've got. This is the bottom half of a pecan slab that I had that I'm actually turning into a test tabletop for a coffee nook. And that's a little more of what it will actually look like. So I've got some pecan. Oh, here's a piece of the pecan that I cut and started working with already. Yeah, no. No, that's a piece of oak that I had sitting there. Hold on a second. Wee-hee-hee. Here we go. It's a piece of the pecan wood that I had that I'm cutting. So that's going to turn into the tabletop of a coffee nook. Pretty soon, too, I hope. That'd be nice, man. I'd like somebody local to Columbia, even if I got to drive up to to Greenville or something like that. It's an hour or two away. That'd be all right. So, all right, guys. Hey, I'm gonna take a bathroom break real quick, and then I'll be right back. Y'all can hang out and take a look at the whole shop, and I will be back in a couple minutes. All right, hey, sorry guys, we are back. I'm also getting yelled at because I'm not drinking enough water, so. Here you go. On multiple cameras, here we are, drinking water. All right. Hydrate, bitches! All right, so. Brat. All right. Let's make some holes in shit. I'm gonna line this up so the drill bit cuts just. Oh, I missed. Just on that line. So we'll give you guys the camera back and show you what I'm doing. So that scroll saw blade comes off. We're gonna punch that right through a drill bit hole. Right through a drill hole. So we have to put that drill hole right on the edge, right there. Yeah, I forgot. Where'd you say you got to? Virginia? I don't want to say you were in Virginia. Huh? Nah, man, I freehand this shit. Plus, my vise isn't bolted down yet. It's one of the things in my shop that I was like, I'll do it in a minute, and then I forgot. Where's that at? I used to live in Fayetteville. Listen, boy. Hey, don't be out here telling your daddy what to do. You hear me? Well, I know, but North Carolina's big, jackass. Is it up in the mountains or over towards the ocean? Or actually, I'm 2 hours from Charlotte, so really, you got to be around Charlotte, huh? Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, actually, so you're more towards Clemson and stuff, like like Greenville, and over that side of the state. Nice. All right. So now we got a hole cut on each edge, and really that's just because I want to. That's fine, man. Don't worry about it. When you buy something, I'll ship it to you. Ha ha. Okay. So that saw blade should be pretty cool by now. We'll go over to this. Go back over to the scroll saw. So we're gonna go ahead and loosen this up. You gotta loosen the tension on the blade. The oscillating arm is actually where the tension comes from. Loosen up just a little bit more. We'll come over, drop this through. And make sure it's all lined up underneath. Actually, hold on a sec. There we go. Get that all nice and tight. You piece of shit. Okay. There we go. Get that in the anchor. Drop that arm, put it back in there, tighten the arm back up. Make sure it's nice and tight, not too tight. Just about finger tight, just like that. Make sure it doesn't chatter. Get that nice hum going. Ah. Didn't get it as free as I wanted to. Take advantage of this scroll. Back it up. Now, raise this up. Should be able to pop the other piece out and away. Now we'll just clean it up. Turn it off so I can back this blade into this little crevice that I built. Give it some bite. Loosen it up. Take the blade, make sure we don't lose it. Well, we can just put it back in, so. Retighten that up because we're going to cut this S here in a second. Remember, we're reverse cutting the S too. There we go. Saw at the middle of our O right here. Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. I'll check it out. So. I'll sand it out. Nice and smooth and looking good for Mr. Bolter. Drop that in our box. We are 2 letters down, 1 letter to go on the day. Actually, we're 4 letters down. I don't know. I don't remember. Whatever. We did shit. Okay, put the drill away. Now we're just going to scroll out our S. As we get this done, we get to start prepping for epoxy pours. Yeah, absolutely, man. We're just going to cut this letter out real quick. I'm going to drink some more water. She's got enough channel points she could just remind me in the chat instead of yelling at me in the house. But, you know, also, she's never yelled at me, guys. Okay. Let me get some, is it? It was raining here this morning, man. It was pretty rough. I woke up and it was just pouring, bro. Yeah, it's actually good because I'm trying to grow grass in the backyard and I don't have to water it today. So I don't honestly think it's something gonna end up growing, but we'll see. This freaking pine sand down here. Can't get anything to grow right. No, you stop it. Man, the back of that is fuck. I'll put that on a belt sander, it'll be alright. Half of this stuff is being able to fix your mistakes anyway. Knowing how to do it right. What I'm doing is moving the piece too fast against the saw blade and it's allowing it to deflect more than I want it to. So just take it slow when you guys are cutting. Just remember that. Doing it slow and right the first time is going to save you a whole lot of trouble in the back end. That's true with everything. That's your daddy's wisdom for the day. Boom. Scrolled that right off. Almost nice and smooth. It's all right. Almost done. Got a couple more cuts. We'll be all set. We're going to get these in the mold. Make sure they're all sanded smooth. And once they're smooth, we will be set to pour. I'm excited, guys. I haven't poured epoxy in a couple months because with life going on and stuff, I haven't had the chance. I haven't had jobs to do with it, so I'm excited. I'll show you guys the base pour, and then we'll come back and I'll show you guys one pigment pour, and the other ones I won't bother to stream. They're going to be at off times. We have to do that according to a set schedule. And the set schedule is whatever the epoxy decides, whatever rate the epoxy decides to cure at. So unfortunately, I won't be able to schedule it. It's just going to be when I come back and check on it, and when it's ready to pour, we'll pour it. But the first one I will be able to do with you guys, and we'll make sure you guys see the first big pour and then the first pigment pour. That out, clean out the debris, and shabam, thunder. Hey, take it easy, man. I appreciate you for sure. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for stopping by, saying hey. I hope you have a great day at work, man. So one thing we're going to do before we do this pour, though, is I'm going to make sure that I template out the letters on a piece that I can keep for a little while. I'll end up cutting them out later, but I'll just go ahead and template them right now. Another thing I don't like is I don't like the angle this L is at. That's okay. It works out all right. Oh, hey. Hype it up, man. We got enough people in chat. Let's make a hype. No, we don't, but it's okay. All right. So let's get something we can make a template out of real quick. Just got to be something real nice and easy. I got this pine board here that I'm not using for anything. So that's what we're going to do. Oh, yeah? Yeah, well. Man, look at that. That is perfect. It's the perfect height. Exactly. I'm going to go ahead and take care of this real quick. Just going to trace this right on the piece of pine. You motherfucker. It's all moving. I didn't tell you to move. You're grounded. So there's our L. Yep. Thank you. Boom. So we'll back up. We're just going to template this out on a piece of pine. We've got it stacked in the box. But we're just going to go ahead and do this real quick just so I have a template later. I will end up cutting these letters out later so that I've got them and they're all sized correctly for the stands for the LOS. They're a little rough, but that's okay. Oh, I gotta cut the O out, the middle. Good enough to cut with. And I'll just come back later and cut them out. It's no big deal right now. So, just something I can work with. Just to connect all the dots and shit. I do like that wingman, dude. It's treated me pretty well this season. I'll be honest, I know the PK is freaking deadly, but the Eva in a pinch, man, it's a little bit more forgiving because of that full auto. Even though the cycle's a little slow, it seems to be pretty forgiving for a game retard like me. So, I got a pretty wicked clip I put up on TikTok the other day. Something about I had just got done watching Top Gun, so it was called "Don't You Never Leave Your Wingman." It was a little double entendre because I snapped this dude with a freaking wingman so hard, bro, on a freaking triple hip fire. On a slide, too. It was insane. You got to go check it out. All right, so got my little LOS letter template. Stencils. I'll cut stencils later. I'm going to go ahead and get these placed. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to unplace them. We're going to take them out. We're going to do a material wipe. I want to wipe all the debris out of these. Make sure there's nothing hanging out that shouldn't be there. Just take a nice rag real quick. I don't have my air compressor set up yet, or I got to get a new hose. The hose I had broke, or else I would blow them out. But this will work again because whatever debris is going to be on the bottom coat, like that's in there, that bottom coat's going to get planed off anyway. So no worries at all. And we're just going to use one mixing cup for this because they're both going to be a clear bottom layer. Let's put up some tools so we don't get epoxy on everything. Maybe put up the iPad so it doesn't get epoxy on everything, so I don't ruin it. I'm still paying for it. Clean workspaces, gentlemen. and ladies. Always got to hang up our tools, make sure we're taking care of things. This needs a home. I think it has a home. It has a home. It goes right here. Don't need a tape measure for this one. Sort out all our hardware. I'm coming right back to the desk, guys. Just putting some nails away. I have a drawer of random woodworking shit. Works pretty well. Let's get this battery on the charger while I'm thinking about it. I'm doing some general shop cleaning stuff. Shop maintenance. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to need a mixing stick. We're going to mix this epoxy by hand because it's a small quantity. We mix it as much by hand as we possibly can. Because one thing that does is if you're mixing it with a drill and a blender attachment, which I actually have a blender attachment for my drill. Oh, I threw out all my scrap veneer and everything. Okay. Actually, that'll work. That'll work better. I hate using walnut for scrap, but it's expensive, but it's okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and pour the base resin in first. We're only going to need a little bit to cover. All I want to do is cover the bottom of these by about 1/8 of an inch. We can pour this epoxy up to 1/4 of an inch thick before it will start having issues curing. But we're not going to do that. I'm also going to estimate a little extra because this stuff's going to stick. All right, so this is 1-to-1 epoxy. So I'm going to go ahead and measure this out. Got just over 50 mils. About 75. So we're going to top this right up to 150 milliliters of solution. And it is a solution. This stuff's going to mix really well and turn into a different chemical, which is obviously epoxy. This is the hardener. So we're going to do 1-to-1. Making sure we're watching our levels. Want to get this as close to perfect as we can. Too much hardener, and it will cure too quickly on the exposed surfaces, all the external surfaces of it, and the inside will not cure. It will stay gel. Not enough hardener, and it will never cure. So, and once it's poured, you can't fix it. So we want to get as close as we can to 1-to-1. Normally I'd use like a little pine stir stick, a scrap, and all this other stuff, but when we moved, did away with a lot of that stuff just for moving weight. Okay. So we're going to mix this, any large quantity of it, we're going to mix for 3 to 5 minutes. What we're going to do now, I'm just going to eyeball this and make sure that as I'm going through it, the consistency is, and the thickness is very consistent. The consistency of this stuff looks like maple syrup almost. So we're going to make sure that none's left on the sides. We're going to scrape all the sides and make sure that it's all mixed in. Scrape the bottom, make sure it's all mixed in, because once it starts to cure, once you start to pour, you can't scrape the sides. Because what that does is if there's any resin or any hardener that's on the sides, and you're scraping the sides, you're pouring in unmixed epoxy, and what that'll do is, again, it either won't cure or it'll cure to, or if it's just the hardener, it'll leak out. Yeah, it's just bad. So we'll just make sure we've got this all cured, or all mixed, all nice and solid all the way through. All right. One thing we're gonna do also is we're gonna prep the heat gun. Now, epoxy as it cures is an exothermic reaction. It gives off heat from wherever it's curing from. That includes the underneath. So as it's giving off heat, as it's curing, the oxygen that's trapped in it is escaping. You get all the bubbles coming up to the surface. But the problem is if those don't escape by the time the top cures, then they can't escape and you end up with bubbles in your resin. You can see it turns white. It's got this foamy. That's how you know it's pretty well mixed. Okay. We don't want to just throw this on the ground because it'll glue to the ground. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this on another piece of scrap right there. It'll cure to that scrap and we'll throw it away. But the heat bubbles that are inside of it are trying to rise to the top. So what we end up doing, and this is also self-leveling because the viscosity of it allows it to self-level. What it'll do is it'll get those air bubbles. It'll decrease the viscosity of the epoxy and will allow those air bubbles to slip out before it starts to cure. So we're going to go ahead. I actually may not have mixed enough. I thought it was going to be too much. I'm going to go ahead, make sure the entire bottom's coated. That's all we're doing, making sure that it's completely coated. Ugh, looks like splooge. And really, like we had talked about, this bottom layer is really just so that when it cures, it holds the letters or the stencils or whatever it is that we're doing, kind of holds it in place so that it doesn't float on the next layer of epoxy, so the epoxy doesn't get underneath it. So once this is all cured, what we'll do is we'll just run this heat gun real quick. And you'll be able to see, if you look close, I don't know how much you'll be able to see the camera, and actually watch the bubbles come to the top and escape. And again, this is like the sacrificial layer of epoxy, but we don't want it to be a half-assed job because the other thing is the stenciled letters are going to stick to this. And then the next layer of epoxy is going to stick to this too, right? So we don't want it to be complete trash. We still want to do a good job with what we're doing. So we'll go ahead and make sure all the air bubbles escape. And you want to use a heat gun, not a blow dryer for this. An actual heat gun. Guys, I picked this one up super cheap. I think it was 20 or 30 bucks. The reason you don't want to use a blow dryer or heat dryer, hair dryer, is the temperatures get too hot for the epoxy, and it will actually start to cure it before you want it to cure because we're still in a working stage with it, right? So it will actually start to cure the top of the epoxy also before the bottom can cure, and we don't want that because then the bubbles can't escape, and then it doesn't turn out clear. So okay, so we got just enough in there that we're good to work with what we got. We're going to start placing letters in the box. And we've got about 15 minutes of work time before it becomes that we can adjust things before it becomes detrimental to the epoxy cure. So we're going to make sure we get this in there, make sure we get it all seated, nice and right where we want it, and then we're going to leave it. Normally under normal circumstances, what I'm going to do, and I will do this for the successive pours, is I will cover these, especially in a dusty shop like this or something like that. I don't want shop dust and wood sawdust, like sawdust and stuff getting into these, because that'll get into the epoxy too. And once it's in, you guys, you can't get it out. Okay. So I got a little epoxy on my finger. It's going to be on the wood. That's not a big deal because ultimately We're looking at end result of this anyway, right? So, okay. So, letters are in. Epoxy is poured. Heat gunned and everything. And now, guys, all we do now is wait. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna wait because it's such a thin coat of epoxy. I'm still gonna wait the full couple hours. Normally, I would wait, depending on what I'm pouring, how big it is, how much mass I'm doing, anywhere up to 8 hours. Because you don't want it cured. You want it about 60% cured before you pour the next layer, so that 60 to 80% cured, so that there's no more air coming up and getting trapped by your next layer of pour. But also it has to be in that gel state, or else it does not adhere as well as it could be. You want that chemical bonding to those two layers to cure together. So you want all the air to be able to get out, but you want it liquid enough that the next layer can bond to it. So about the 80% mark is where we get, and that's about the level of, like, if I'm gonna stick my finger in it, it will fingerprint, and it won't level itself out over the fingerprint, but it's not hard yet. So, and it's not so liquid that it levels itself back in real quick. So we're gonna leave these here, guys. It is what time is it? I'm sure there's a clock around here somewhere on my phone. Hey Siri, be worth a dime. Okay, it's about 3:40. So I'm gonna come back out here and check on these about probably here in about 3 hours, probably like 6:40, just before 7 o'clock. I'll actually probably be on stream with you guys. So what I'll do is, instead of switching sources, I'll bring one back in the house and show it to you guys, just so you can see what we're looking at. And I'll pour, actually, we'll probably do the switch, and I will pour the pigment, the next pigment coat of, guys, meet me back here at 6 o'clock Eastern time. We'll pour the pigment, and then we'll go in and we'll stream like Apex, or we got something else going on tonight. Maybe we'll get back on Metro Exodus. But 6 o'clock tonight, we're going to pour the pigmented epoxy so you guys can see what we're working with and how I do that. And then we'll get it done. And I can't wait to see you guys then. But until then, guys, be good. Daddy's watching. I'll see you later. Thanks.